Can you give us an update on the SOS campaign?
You know, the response has been overall fairly positive to the campaign. There's always going to be a negative component for sure, but right off the bat, when we released the media release, the response was very good. We're probably about $8,500 into online donations and the at-game donations, and there's definitely a sponsorship component to it as well. We're hoping to get into the $25,000 range with new sponsorships and deals there that are still in the works. Obviously, it takes a bit for the sponsorship aspect because there's contracts involved. But you know, I think the biggest win for the Save Our Storm campaign was really just the understanding from the community that we're community owned and we all need to support it for it to work. And I think we went far too long trying to do that as a internal group to make it work without that slowly that support was waning. So we've seen increased attendance. Fortunately, the first weekend after the campaign was released, the weather wasn't the greatest, so we didn't get where we wanted to be. Our targets for the last remaining home games are going to be to at least 1,500 people in the stands, and I think we can get that. I think the outreach from the community has been very good, and I think we'll see that happen at these last couple of games, as long as the weather cooperates, and we'll make a push for that last playoff spot. And I think it's really been a successful program that we want to continue for sure. Obviously, 8,500 and 20,000 is well short of the goal we set, but it's coming in and people are doing the support, and it really woke up the community to it. So it worked really well in that sense. And obviously, the third prong of the Save Our Storm was the investor groups, and we definitely had some interesting things happening there as well.
So how do you feel about like the stability of the team moving forward?
Well, that's the interesting part with the investors group part. We've had immediately we had actually people call, just even right into the Storm office and say, "Listen, I've got some friends. We've got a group of people that are interested in helping the Storm, and obviously with that help, they would like to have a lot of input in what was happening, and it wasn't clear whether some people thought they could purchase the Storm, which was never the case, and how that was going to work. So with those groups coming forward and those discussions happening, it was essentially really good to get that those people that are in the community think that junior A hockey is very important to our community and have the financial stability to potentially help the team. So what's really come of it is we've had two board members that have stepped up to initiate an investors group. Murray Taves is heading that group or leading that group a bit. He's always been involved in the board. He's a busy man, so he hasn't had a lot of involvement, but he's committed to stepping up. They've got about 5 members now. So the 2 board members that are already existing, what's going to happen is anybody that joins that group will be brought onto the board immediately with voting rights. And voted on as we would vote in on any member, because again it's community based, so they'll be voted on, and we'll have a succession plan put in place. The bylaws of the club are clear that we usually have our AGM in June, and at June the board's elected. Everybody holds position for 2 years. I'm actually up on my 2 years as president. Murray Taves has agreed to step up and be the new president, and probably the vice president and treasurer will be people from this new investor grouping arena. All the old board members will stay on the board. Some might leave, some might stay. That's up to them, and it's always been up to them whether they're on that. And we'll move forward from June with a new president, a new executive body, with a new direction for the team and the way the board is going, with the same level of help that everybody on the board has always given. So it's led to some very interesting changes, but again, some very good stability. Essentially, those new people coming in, the investors, have come forth with the thought that if we can't raise the money, they will provide the money in short-term shareholders' loans, and we'll get that money back to them as we stabilize. But what it has done is it's moved us from week to week to being able to finish the season, and it's moved us to understand that this team will be here into the future. These are all local businessmen that wanted to be here local. So we have the knowledge that we have the tools we will need to make it through the season and continue to be here for years to come. Obviously, we need to right the ship, get it being break even, pay for itself again as it had been in the past, and hopefully make some money to put in the bank for some stability fund. But the investors are willing to, as needed, stabilize financially till we can right the ship ourselves and go in that new exciting direction and bring back strong storm hockey to the area.